Hey everybody, welcome to another Good Vibes Gaming discussion. I'm your host, Brandon Miracle, joined today by GVG Art Director Daniel Alba.
Hello.
As well as our two very special guests, RogersBase.
Hello everybody, what's going on?
And AntDude.
Hello, hello.
And today we are talking about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. We have all finished the game and we all have lots of thoughts on these games. So we're just going to jump right into it. I'm going to throw it right at your face, Ant. I'm throwing it at you right now. Just initial impressions. What did you think of Pokemon?
Okay, yeah. So thank you for having me on. You know, I'm not someone who's been complaining about Pokemon for the last 10, 15 years. For context, the only gens I've liked before this are the remakes of 1 and 2 and 5. That's it. And I've played all of them. I didn't jive with 6, 7, and 8. So I was very skeptical going into 9, but I loved Arceus. I'm like, okay, this company's going a direction I like, and I love 9. 9, the Scarlet and Violet, I think, are fantastic Pokemon games, RPGs, whatever word you want to attach to it. It's the first Pokemon game in a long time I felt compelled to like really get into the world and learn more about the characters and stuff. And yeah, it's I'm still making my way to completing the Pokédex, but I actually adore this game. This game is fantastic.
That's awesome to hear.
Nice.
What do you think, Daniel? Where do you land?
Oh man, yeah. Much like Ant, my favorite games in the series are probably Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and Black and White. Gen 2 and 5 are like my favorites. I've been playing these games since Yellow version, all the way back on my Game Boy Color. I played every single generation at this point. I think I'm a little bit more into Pokemon than some people here. I found something of value in all the Pokemon games, even in my least favorite ones. I think there's something to get from those. But really, with Scarlet and Violet, we've seen what they've been working on in the past Pokemon titles with like Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, with Pokemon Legends Arceus especially, and to see that kind of culminate here with Sword and Shield's kind of exploration of the wild area, and to just make that the whole game is exactly what we wanted for so long. And to see that realized was such a magical thing. Just to kind of explore where we want. There's still some things about the game, obviously, like that are from Legends Arceus that I wish carried over still. But I mean, we slowly inch our way closer to the ideal Pokemon game. There's so many things about it that's done right, but there's also a lot that can still be tweaked and done a little bit better. But overall, fantastic game, I think, bar all the issues that we're going to eventually talk about. But I completed the Pokédex over here, and I spent an irresponsible amount of time playing this game since launch, so...
Wow.
Nice. And what about you, Roger?
Yeah, I mean, I love it too. I mean, I streamed the whole thing. I had a blast. I think the thing is, I've always liked Pokemon, right? I don't think there's ever been like one generation that I heavily dislike. I think there's been maybe some side games or some of like the third games where I've had issues with them or I thought they were a little repetitive, but I feel like Scarlet and Violet did so many things right that it almost like hurts my heart, because obviously like there are tech issues with this game. It does feel somewhat rushed, but at the same time, like because of the things they did right, I hope they don't look at that and then think, oh, we're gonna bring all this stuff back to how it was. It's like, no. Like, keep doing this, but just let it simmer a little bit more, because there's so many things in this one I love, like being able to just walk wherever you want to go, get your Pokemon. You have the great Pokedex variety. I think the only little minor thing that I wish would have carried over from Arceus into this one is that thing where at the end of every battle, if your Pokemon levels up enough to evolve, that it doesn't auto go to the evolve thing, where it gave the little option where it was like, you can evolve this Pokemon now. And I thought that was so great, because then I didn't have to waste a bunch of Everstones to keep my Smoliv. But unfortunately, I had to in this one. But yeah, I think the game overall is great. And I also feel like the Pokemon designs, specifically this time, not necessarily the humans, but like the Pokemon themselves and their typings are probably some of the best since Gen 5, in my opinion. I think there's so many good ones. And I also think it was really good from a marketing perspective to not show a lot of them. I think they only showed like 20 or so leading up to the game's release, and it really helped, because then I was going into this one, even having seen leaks and stuff on Twitter a couple days before, going into it and still finding new things. I got my little dung beetle buddy in the desert, and I absolutely fell in love with him, and now he's been on my squad forever. So shout out to Crunchwrap.
That's a fantastic name. I think I'm in agreement with everyone here that I think these are very good Pokemon games, and I I don't think I would consider myself the biggest like core Pokemon fan. I've always been a huge fan of the Pokemon anime and the spin-off games, but growing up, I never really jived super well with the actual core RPG. And as I've become more of an RPG fan in my adulthood, I've started to enjoy these games at their core quite a bit more. And the first Pokemon game that I ever really truly loved, and love is a strong word here, it's Pokemon Legends Arceus. So I was very excited going into Scarlet and Violet. And the way I've been thinking about this has been really difficult for me, because there's a lot of things about Pokemon Legends Arceus that I wish, like Roger said, had carried over into this game. I know it's not exactly something that everybody wants, but throwing the Pokeball does a lot for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I missed having that, but at its core, just having an open world Pokemon game with seamless transitions into the towns, save for the big main one in the center of the map, it just felt like you were really going on a Pokemon journey, because the game does not hold your hand, at least after that miserable opening that I want to talk about later.
Sure.
And it felt like I could really just kind of do what I want. Even if I ended up in an area where Pokemon were a lot higher level than me, I felt challenged. Like, forget it. I am going to be here. I don't care what you say to me. And, and I would travel the areas, see the towns, just regardless of that. And I really, really vibed with that specifically. So specifically, the open world is what I'd want to get into next. Is there anything about the open world that didn't work for you? And I'll again throw it to Ant.
Honestly, I same with you. I like knowing that I'm a big Xenoblade fan, so like knowing that there are these areas that have these really strong enemies, and same thing, I just want to push through and just see how far I can get. So I love that. I like the freedom of knowing I could go anywhere whenever I want. I used to be, before playing the game, upset at the idea that the gyms don't have the level scaling, because I thought
Sure.
they explained, like, in the anime, in like Origins, I forget the name of the spin-off anime, how a gym leader could scale depending on how many badges you had, and I was like, oh cool, this game could do that, and it doesn't. But it didn't matter, because I was still just having a ton of fun exploring, leveling up at my own pace. So it just became, I'll do this later. Doing the Team Star, the gym leaders, all that stuff at my own pace was great. I love that the map keeps track of what order you did everything in. The only thing I think I don't really like is with the towns. You can't go into buildings, and there's no personality with like what a town represents. And when, like, if you go into a shop, it's just a menu. I think the towns could use more personality. Ironically enough, my favorite town was the ice one, because it was just one building in the middle of a mountain.
At the top of the mountain, yeah.
That was great. Everything else just felt like the same group of buildings in a different place with nothing else to do. So if they expand on the personality bit, but otherwise, not really a ton of complaints.
What about you, Daniel?
Yeah, that one town pretty much personified what a lot of these areas are. Just the one place. Just the area. If it wasn't a gym, it was just a pit stop. That's pretty much what a lot of these towns were, for just sucking up, getting items, seeing what you can do there. But yeah, just the in-between areas, going from place to place, going to the towers. The fact that they incorporated towers that you can have shortcut points to between, warp points, just kind of breeds some of that Xenoblade and Breath of the Wild kind of idealism that they have there, because it's in every game now. You have a nice old vista with the piano playing in the background, and you're like, oh yeah, that's what they're trying to invoke. That's what everyone's trying to invoke at this point now. But not that was a bad thing. Like with you guys, I was also going to places I probably shouldn't have been. I think the Iron Treads Titan, that was the 5th thing that I did, my 5th one. I think I was like 10 levels underneath of what I should have been, but we still found a way to, like, just finding a strategy to make it work and to power through that is one of the most exciting things and the most, like, memorable things I could do with this game, because, like, that thing was literally steamrolling my team, but finding it out how to do it, and then the fact that, as we'll get into later, earning that story afterwards is just really satisfying. So yeah, that was a lot of things to say about the open world experience for sure. That's what I loved.
Thinking about that, to Ant's point about there not being any level scaling, I think that's why they went with the 3-story system that they developed, because you're not just going from gym to gym. You also have star bases and titans. and the associated levels that they are not all in the same place. So you could go east, and there might not be a low-level gym there, but maybe there's a low-level Titan that you can fight. So there's always an activity for you to do when you're first starting out, when you leave Mesagoza the first time, and I think that's super smart. If future Pokemon games just have multiple goals like this, I think that is the right direction for the series.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna throw back that first question to you, Roger. What do you think?
I mean, I'm in complete agreement with what you just said too. I think like the multiple path thing is definitely the right way to go about it. And also, it was funny to hear you mention that you did the Iron Treads 5th, because I also did the equivalent of that in Scarlet,
really?
like around 5th or 6th or something. I did it way too early. I also completely agree with Ant. I think the towns themselves don't really have a lot of personality this time around. I think the world does just fine. I think there's enough variety where you can go into the ice mountains or go into the desert or go into the beaches. That's fine. But I do wish that the towns were more like Cerulean City or Vermilion City or Saffron. Like, I still to this day remember the names of all those cities from Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3. And with this one, like Cascarafa, I think is the name of one of them. Or like... I don't know. Like, I can't really name anything other than Mesagoza and that one. Yeah.
They really lean into the Spanish pronunciation, which is a little bit harder for those who aren't used to the language to remember.
But I really, I don't know. I wish they would have like built out the towns a little bit more. Yeah, go into the buildings, I think is cool. The one I did enjoy was also the one that was in the Ice Mountain, where you have the Ghost Gym Leader, where you do the double battle, and it's like the rap battle and the little Greavards in the background dancing. That one was super cute. But on the whole, I think otherwise, like, the concept is good of the open world. I think the variety is good enough for me as well too. You have like the giant dragon lake that's in the northwestern part of the map where they have the Titan battle there. And in terms of level scaling, I don't know. I'm of two minds about this. On one hand, I think I would like the option to maybe have it where it's like, oh, the gyms can level scale. But I also, don't mind that they don't, because then, like you said, if you want an additional challenge, you could go to another gym and try to take that thing on with your weaker Pokemon. Or, you could just decide to not do any of the gyms, just use the Pokemon that you caught in that first route, not worry about the thing where you have to, get the gym badges to be able to train things that are at level 25 or higher or whatever, and just use your starter and a bunch of Wurmple and maybe the opening bird or something, go through the game with it, and then steamroll everything else later. You could really do whatever you want in that aspect, and I think that's kind of neat. So, yeah.
It would honestly be kind of cool if at the beginning of the game you had been asked, do you want to have the freedom to go wherever you want with level scaling or have a guided experience? Because I see some folks in our live audience chat that say that they prefer having directive and being told where I should go first.
Sure.
Because I can see that being a little overwhelming if you don't play a lot of open world games.
Sure.
Thankfully, this map doesn't have a bunch of icons littered on it, like that Ubisoft
but hold
problem.
on. Wait. While you're saying that, though, hold on. That is my number one complaint with this game. Really? I love this game. My number one complaint is the god-awful map in Scarlet and Violet. Oh my gosh. That map, first off, not very clear where a lot of things are. You get a general location of some things. It automatically goes in the direction of the compass. It doesn't automatically readjust itself. You're constantly disoriented. So I'd say if there was one thing they could fix about this, even if it's in a patch or something, fix that map. By all means,
what blew
please.
my mind with that map is if you press the map button, it shows you a Pokemon in the surrounding area. But if you rotate the map, their location changes with.
It just
all over the place.
I don't know what that was
so
all
confusing.
about.
I just have an option to lock the mini map would be just so much more helpful because you can do it in the mini map.
Yeah. My
Just
other complaint, and I don't know about you guys, if you play multiplayer, you can only see your friends that you're traveling with on the main map. They don't show up on the little mini map in the bottom corner.
Oh,
really?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it makes it a real pain in the butt if you're just trying to go in the same direction as your friend. Because if you can't see them, they might as well not even be there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you have to open the map. You can set your friend as a destination, but it will only set the destination where they were standing. So as
Yeah.
soon as they start moving, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
You were mentioning about setting the destinations. I think that's the other thing too, is we've gotten so accustomed to this with stuff like Elden Ring or Breath of the Wild or whatever with markers. The fact this game doesn't have markers is also mind-blowing. If it's like,
Yeah.
I know there's this thing over here that I want to catch, but I can't catch it right now because I want to go do this other thing. Give me a Pokeball marker. Let me put that down here. Like, allow me to, if there's a item or a good TM or something that I want to go back and get again, put a little TM marker, say this is one I want to go back to after they respawn. Like, there's so many things they could do with the map that I feel they just kind of squandered on. That again, that's my biggest complaint with the game, when overall, again, I loved it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it would add a lot of quality of life, which is something I think this game does well in a lot of areas.
Yes.
Like, one of my favorite features from Pokemon Legends Arceus was being able to remember old moves. It's
That's
just
crazy.
there in a
Right.
list.
Yep.
It's
that's
so
The
nice.
best.
Mhm.
Yes. And TM moves
They
too.
made,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They made that
Oh,
so much
it's the
more
best.
accessible.
There's literally an option to turn off your Pokemon learning a new move. You can just ignore it.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Then you
It's
come
in the
back
options
later.
menu. You can just
Oh,
turn it
wow,
off.
I didn't even know
It
that.
never stops
Wow.
you. So, like, if you dump like a rare candy XL into your Pokemon and they level up like 40 times, you're not sitting there saying, "Do I want to learn this move? Do I want to learn
Oh,
that
wow.
move?" Saves a lot of time.
Right.
So
That's
do that
super
if you
nice.
haven't.
There is that thing too where if you auto battle, correct me if I'm wrong, and your Pokemon levels up, it also skips the level up thing. Because there were a couple times I was
Yeah.
auto battling and grinding in a couple areas, just like having fun running around because I wanted to level up my Smoliv. And all of a sudden, I noticed that some of my other Pokemon, when you go into like the move relearner thing, had brand new moves that they didn't
Yeah.
have before. So I was constantly going back
Yeah.
and checking it.
Yeah, if you don't notice a little light bulb icon that pops up on their side when they level up, then you won't even know until you come back to
Oh,
see them.
that's
but,
what that
but,
means.
Right,
Oh,
But yeah,
Right.
I didn't even realize.
otherwise, yeah, you also can't evolve Pokemon through auto battle, so it's
Yep.
it's like there's a balance there. But
Speaking of auto battle, there are some Pokemon that evolve from walking alongside you. I think it's like 1,000 steps.
yeah,
That's my little dung beetle. I did it live on stream.
Palmo into Palmot. Not to keep on the role of complaining, but I do have a complaint about that. There's no marker to tell you
Yes.
how long that they have been traveling alongside you.
yeah.
And I kid
mean,
you not.
you
I
know
tried
the-
for hours.
Did that
You know of
revival.
do you know of the,
Really?
the exploit?
What's the exploit?
What's the exploit?
Okay, so if you do the Let's Go thing where you throw the Pokemon out and they follow you, what you do is you take your ride Pokemon, jump on top of a Pokestop, and then the Pokemon will stay under it and try to get to you, but it can't, so it just keeps running in circles.
Oh,
So you
you
just
lost
throw it
yourself?
out, jump on top of a
Interesting.
stop, it just runs in circles. I just
Oh my
keep my
gosh.
Switch down for like 15, 20 minutes, however long, and then do one level up and it evolves.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. That's
Wow.
really good to know.
Wish
That
I knew
would've
that for
helped
my,
me a
my
lot.
tumbleweed.
Fun fact. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
the
exactly-
Tumbleweed too. Yeah, Tumbleweed, Palmot, and Rabscar, I think are the three.
I think so.
Are there any other
ones?
ones?
I
far as
think
I
it's
know,
yeah. Three.
just them. Yeah, I tried evolving my Palmo into Palmot for like hours, and the biggest problem I ran into is that it doesn't run as fast as you.
Yes.
So,
It's
Yeah.
like, come on, buddy.
Yes.
so I just let him out, and I just crawl as he
Yep.
follows behind me. And, after 30 minutes, I throw out a rare candy and, cross my fingers and hope it evolves, and it didn't.
Sure.
Did you crouch walk so you can keep up with
Should
him?
have. I didn't even think.
Yeah.
I kid you not. I don't think my Palmot or Palmo evolved into Palmot until like level 74.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah, it was bad.
He took his sweet time.
He did.
Yeah. So small complaint there. I'd like it if there was just like a, like the Pokewalker, just a step tracker. Just let me know.
Yeah,
I don't want to question myself.
Yeah.
they had
Give
it in
us
some
reason
games
to
like
use our Pokeball Plus. Have it where Pokeball Plus tracks it or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I would gladly do that. I love my Pokeball
Yeah.
Plus. Speaking of, I mentioned multiplayer earlier. Did any of you play around with that at all?
Yeah.
a little bit,
A lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what did you think, Roger? It seems like you did the most.
Yeah, I think for me, it wasn't online multiplayer though, which is funny. It was me sitting
Oh.
on the couch with Reagan, just playing
okay.
in the same environment, not actually playing with each other, but just playing in the same world. That was so helpful because if she needed help, a lot of the times, like she doesn't remember the type advantages and things like that. So I'd go, okay, well, let me just come over and help you or bring over another Pokemon. And it was great to just be sitting there on the couch, playing in the exact same world, not having any link cables, not even being online. It's just via like local interaction and existing. in the same game world,
Yeah.
catching the same Pokemon, seeing the same things, including shinies. I don't know if you guys had situations where you saw shinies while existing in someone else's game world, but that's super fun too. Like shiny stealing and all that kind of stuff.
Man.
But yeah, I love it. And that's one of those things about this game that I feel like I never want them to go back to. I think it was so seamless the way that they did, like people can come into your world, or you can go and just do the little Poke Portal thing to do link trades or anything like that. It's way better than the weird Plaza thing that we had in Alola. Way better even than what we had with like Sword and Shield. I think they streamlined it, and I never want to go back ever again.
It is remarkable how not trash the online is. For
Yeah.
all the issues people have with the game's performance, it's amazing that this game has better online than like Animal Crossing.
Right.
It's
It is
weird.
also wild. Yeah.
Like in Animal Crossing, you have to wait 10 years for one person to show up in your
God.
island and then wait for the next person. And now it's like, oh, 4 people want to show up. Here, go. And then if
There
they
you
leave,
go.
it's seamless. There's no like
Yeah.
goodbye ceremony. They
No.
just go. It's
there is
insane.
There's one small issue that's tied to that though, and that's like if you have to have all 4 players go in at once. No one can leave and then come back.
sure.
You have to close
Sure.
the entire room and then
Okay.
build it up again.
Sure.
Yeah,
and
I
that's
never ran
made-
into that because I was only playing with one. So it was like I never had more than one person in my world.
It's made slightly more annoying too because for whatever reason you can't just use your friends list. There's these annoying codes that I
Yeah.
want to throw into a dumpster. So like I almost always had a full group of 4, and you know occasionally someone's game would crash, and then we'd all groan because we have to close the union circle, reopen it, wait for everybody to get in, then hit start. So if they fixed how that worked, I would be like 150% on multiplayer because I think it adds a ton to the experience. I know you can't technically do a lot together, but there's something about that shared experience in the same instance of the world where, you know, someone will cheer because they got a shiny and you can see in the upper right corner that they just caught a Pokemon. That's fun, man. You can't
Yeah.
beat that.
It is.
Yeah, I think the most multiplayer I did in this game was just terror raid battles with others, which sometimes it works, and sometimes
Oh, God.
I wonder if the game is going to just crash on me in the middle as I wait 30 seconds for a move to
Oh,
be thrown
no.
out. And sometimes I've mostly been doing them by myself at this point because it's just painful to do it with others. But when it does work, and you can collaborate with people, like you're talking to people on a call, and you can collaborate and talk to people like, okay, I'm going to use this move, I'm going to heal up, I'm going to lower their stats. It's a pretty cool experience, honestly.
Did
It's
anyone else
crazy.
like Among Us also do like a group sandwich?
Not yet.
Oh, I haven't done a
God.
sandwich.
Not
I gotta
yet.
make a sandwich together, guys.
It's the most insane because making a sandwich solo is already insane because you're just dropping. But
Yeah,
everyone
sure.
just has a free for all, and it's incredible.
funny.
It throws
It's the
stuff
most
on
fun
Mustard
part.
on there and
It's-
pickles and yeah.
it's so good. Like
think
each
there was-
person picks their own set of ingredients, so I just went like, all right, 4 orders of pickles, and then you figure out the rest. And
That's
Oh, man,
great.
yeah.
That's it.
Well, yeah, guys, we'll make a sandwich together. I'll bring the herba whatever you call it, so that we can get shinies.
Herba Mystica.
Yeah,
I like it.
that one.
I think I made a sandwich with my friend Levi. We were doing like strawberry and jam or something. We actually coordinated and decided to make something that wasn't a monstrosity.
Nice.
And I
That's
ended
nice.
up having 4 strawberries. He had the jam, put the jam down. I pick up the strawberry and miss the bread. It just falls away. I missed 3 out of the 4 strawberries. That sandwich
man.
had 1 strawberry on it in the end.
On the topic of sandwiches, while we are here, though, I will say one of the most unforgivable animations in this game is the sandwich animation of
Oh my god, yeah.
That's if the facial animation
if
even
it
works.
works.
That's it. Worse. It's just a face that just comes.
I don't
It
know
just
what the
forward.
thought process was of doing that, because like even in Sword and Shield, they at least taste the curry and they go or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they did that with the sandwich.
Yeah.
I would just prefer the
Oh,
menu
man.
just say you ate this sandwich and got
Exactly.
this effect.
Literally, I would rather it
Yeah.
just say you got this effect and ate the sandwich. Yeah.
There are the aspect of like eggs when it comes to sandwiches I really like. You can just kind of make a sandwich with egg power, bring out the
Yeah.
Pokemon you need, wait a few minutes, and there's 10 eggs in the basket. You give them out to all your friends. I'd love
Yep.
that. That's
Yeah.
never been easier if you ask me.
I think competitively too, that's also fantastic. You know, that goes along with all the other changes that came from Arceus as well, with remembering certain moves, having the TMs where you could just craft them so long as you have the right material, you can make as many of them as you want. Like, in terms of competitive battling, especially with Terrastall and with all the new things they've implemented for this one, I feel like it's never been easier to make a competitive team and like actually build out a Pokemon that works. And I also feel like the competitive thing that they added with Terrastall is way more interesting than something just as simple as like Mega Evolution or Z moves or Dynamaxing, because you really have no idea what somebody's going to do, right? Like the Terra type changing and having any Pokemon be able to change their Terra type at any time really does keep you on your toes. Like, there was an instance I ran into in a battle where somebody had a Terra type Volcarona that was grass type, and they quiver danced and then Terra typed afterwards, turned into grass type, and then used Giga Drain. And let me tell you, you do not know the pain of a +3 quiver dance Volcarona that changes its Terra type and then does Giga Drain. And it's stuff like that constantly, right? There's so many different stories about that kind of thing happening. And I feel like it really is going to be exciting looking at Worlds next year or 2 years from now and seeing what type combos end up being really popular, which Pokemon end up being popular, what team setups end up being viable. It's been a lot of fun, even in these early days, which I honestly can't say I've felt since like X and Y.
I was really unsure how I was going to feel about Terrastall going into the game because from a visual standpoint, I really just didn't like what it looked like going in. That grew on me a lot, I have to admit. But now that I've played through the entire game, I think it's my favorite like gimmick ability they've ever added to a Pokemon game.
Easily.
Absolutely.
It's so cool. Like, I remember an instance I was using Skeledirge, and I was fighting a Ghost type or something. And, you know, Skeledirge is fighting, or Fire Ghost, so it's weak to Ghost as well. And I was like, well, he's got Fire Terrastall, so I could just eliminate that weakness. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
And that felt so good. Because that was the first time it, like, clicked in my head. I'm like, this is what this is for.
Yeah.
You can get yourself out of a situation, give yourself the advantage when you need it, and having that kind of power really changes the dynamic of a Pokemon battle.
Yeah.
So that was very exciting for me. I don't know, what did you guys think?
No,
I mean,
complete agreement.
I agree with you that I didn't like any of the other gimmicks. I don't like Z moves. I didn't like the Gigantamaxing. I didn't like some of the designs were cool, but mechanically I never got behind them. But yeah, the Terra type stuff, I love that. It adds such a level of strategy on like a pure RPG combat level that I didn't get from any of the other types, because the other gimmicks are just like your final Pokemon's just going to be stronger now, and I just didn't vibe with it. But like, for me, as a not competitive person, I found a Toad School that had a Terra type I didn't like, and I'm like, oh damn, I actually have to like kind of grind out to get the Terra type I want, and I didn't think I would care enough to do that, but I did.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely the best gimmick that they've done. Visually, yeah, it's a little gaudy, it's a little ridiculous,
Yeah, sure.
but mechanically, it's definitely very cool.
I wonder why they did that, but I also understand why, because I think with things like Gigantamax or things like the Mega Evolutions, right, we're never going to see those Pokemon again unless they end up bringing back Megas, or they end up bringing back Gigantamax. You're never going to see a G-Max competitive Charizard or Pikachu ever again. Whereas with, like, the Terra types, right, because they are all the same little hat that you put on the Pokemon, it's not really changing the design inherently, it's just changing like what that Pokemon does. And so it allows them to like make cool merchandise if they want to do like a team up with Swarovski or something and do like a Crystal Pikachu, they can do it. But at the end of the day, like, we're not losing out on anything. And I'm like not seeing these Pokemon again or something. Like, all this stuff will eventually come back, other than the actual types themselves, which again I think is far easier to then eventually make like some type of Terra Orb item, where then you could change your type to a different type in a future game, as opposed to, you know, bringing back Megas entirely or G-Maxing entirely.
Yeah, I think as far as this goes, I haven't enjoyed a gimmick in the game as this much since Mega Evolutions. But then again, then I realized, oh, Mega Evolutions only applies to those Pokemon that have it. Not everyone has it. But here, it evens the playing field completely. Any Pokemon can have any Terra type. If you go to like Terra raids, you could get like a Dragonite that's like fairy type of all things, and have it, and you can use that strategically. It's just cool that you can grind these out and really change the competitive play, which is really cool. So yeah.
So we've talked a lot about the gameplay, but I know a big point for this game for a lot of us was how it ended.
Oh yeah,
so I'm gonna
the
throw out
story.
a big old spoiler warning right now. If you have not finished the story Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, you might want to not listen for a while. Daniel is chomping at the bit right now, so I'm just gonna let him take away this whole segment.
So after you've done all 3 main storylines, you then are introduced to the final chapter or so, where the main character of each one of these 3 kind of come together, and then you finally explore the crater, which is Area 0. And from this point, when you enter, the game just doesn't become Pokemon anymore. It's a different game altogether. You're with a party of 4. You're going down this area. They're having banter back and forth. It's a different RPG. The music completely changes your perspective of it. How different that music sounded just completely set the atmosphere from the battle to the normal theme, and just the way the story played out. And it's crazy because the Paradox Pokemon, which we haven't even talked about, they're named actual RPG monsters. They're not just Pokemon names like Iron Trez or Roaring Moon, or it's I'm in a different game right now when you're down there. And that was fantastic, especially the story that circles around the professor of your game. But yeah, what do you guys think as far as opening impressions from that last area?
I also agree with you. I think that first time you walk into the crater and you see the fog rolling over everything and you have the characters talking back and forth with one another, I was almost overwhelmed because I'm streaming it, right? And I'm trying to get to the next objective, but then they're saying something really funny on the bottom of the screen, but there's no voice acting. So I'm trying to read it while I'm talking to my chat, while I'm looking at all these Paradox Pokemon that I haven't seen up to this point. And it was really an amazing experience. And I think that final battle, that's the one thing I will say. Minor spoiler warning, by the way, too, for Legends Arceus, if you haven't beaten at this point, too. If Pokemon did one thing right this year, it's they've nailed the final battle of these games now.
Absolutely.
Because AI Sada is right up there with Volo and Giratina. Really just epic song, amazing team, especially if you don't know the types of those Pokemon at that point, because their team is all Paradox Pokemon. Whatever professor you have in your game, it's all the Paradox Pokemon, half of which you probably haven't seen up to that point. And any of those Pokemon can also Terra Stall, so you're like, wait, what is this thing gonna be? How do I even attack this? Oh my god, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. And shout out to Toby Fox for that incredible music as well.
Right.
I know he did something in Area 0. I don't know if it was the final battle theme or the battle theme when you're fighting the Pokemon in Area 0, but you could hear it. The second you hear that song, you're like, oh, that's Toby Fox.
It definitely has very strong spoilers for Undertale, but the Undertale lab at the very end of that game.
Yes.
That's saying oh, we're going weird and creepy now. Area 0 was I initially I was upset that I couldn't ride my Pokemon to explore my own pace, but I'm like, we're actually getting a lore dump now.
Yeah.
And I started to really like the characters. I didn't really dig Nimona all that much for a while, but then I'm seeing her, and I love Arvin, I love Penny.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing them all interact for the first time. They actually put budget into the cutscenes. We need more cutscenes, because those cutscenes were incredible. I know voice acting they don't have, but whatever. But the fully animated cutscenes, incredible.
Really good.
Yeah, the Paradox Pokemon were great, just the slow descent into this creepy unknown cave. And god, yeah, what they did with the professors, I did not see coming from a mile away. We're already in a spoiler talk, but the fact that they're they covered the topic of death?
Yeah.
What?
He's been dead this whole time.
That's insane.
What?
That's insane.
I had my first thought that maybe they were either dead or we were seeing a recording from a different time period or something. When you go into the lighthouse with Arvin at the end of the Titan Path, I was like, something about this is not adding up to me.
It's a dark lab, and there's spider webs all over the place and stuff.
Right.
And,
I was looking at that monitor. I'm like, are you real? Do you exist? I didn't know they were dead, but I was not certain about the validity of who they were at that point.
Yeah.
So to find out that Pokemon canonically killed a professor just blew my mind.
Two of them. I mean, because that's the other thing, too, is I'm wondering, what they're going to do with the canon outside of this in something like, say, Pokemon Masters or the anime or whatever. Are both of Arvin's parents dead? Did Arvid's dad go to the future and Arvid's mom go into the past? And now he's just an orphan and both of his parents went to different time periods? Like, did they meet up? Or are there different parents? I'm dying to know. I
think in the game, the opposite professor of your game, they leave it unclear in the game's canon what actually happened to them.
Yeah.
Because like when you first go into Area Zero, there's a blue door and an orange door.
Right.
We went through the orange door. What's up with that other one?
Right.
Okay, wait. So first off, did everyone else play Scarlet?
I'm Scarlet, yeah.
I have Violet.
Violet.
Okay, sorry, I was Violet. Okay, so yeah, I wonder if we actually do go into... Because I went on the right side, but my door to go to the creators,
We all went
mine
the right
was
side.
on the right side, I think,
Oh,
too.
okay, I thought,
yeah.
okay. Would have been cool if the other version...
That would have been awesome. I would have loved that, yeah.
That's why I'm pretty sure whatever future DLC we're gonna get is gonna take us through that left door, as well as that entire slab of the map that just isn't there.
Yep.
Yeah. God, there's so much about this to enjoy. I wish that was for more of the game where we like actually travel with some of these characters, where they interact.
Sure.
Where that was the game. That's Pokemon at its peak. Was that last hour or so? Was experiencing the lore, the atmosphere, everything, and just all the way up to the final battle. It was insane how badass it was. Where the professor just holds their hands out, a Master Ball falls down, and it just caught a Pokemon, and he just drops it. And just like, oh my god, you just throw Master Balls like they're candy. That was absolutely mind blowing just to see that.
And just the little minor things with like the text using the weird symbols intermingled with the normal text and stuff.
Yeah.
And then when you beat the professor, and then it becomes the program, and then it says you're fighting AI Turo.
Oh, and it changes.
It's like glitches out.
That's the coolest thing.
Oh man,
that's
just
so cool.
One thing that games do like really sells it for me is like if you're playing an RPG and you're in the final battle or like some core moment where they utilize the UI to tell the story.
Yes.
Right.
So like when you can't use any of your Pokemon because they lock your Pokeballs and they're just like, what do you do? And they don't tell you.
I was like, oh.
Going into your Pokemon screen and having to do the swap Koraidon thing at the bottom. Oh,
yeah.
That's so hype.
Yeah.
Right? Because the first clue was like, oh, any Pokeballs that don't belong to this time or from the professor aren't going to work. And you're just like, wait a minute. The whole reason you had this key item this whole time was Miraidon's or Koraidon's Pokeball. And I was like, oh my god, that's brilliant.
Also, I will say this, because Brandon knows this. Brandon and I obviously have worked together for 2 years now. Fantastic editor. And Brandon, I will say, do you remember my thoughts when they first revealed some of these characters? And the one character in particular that I did not like when they first revealed them. I said, I don't like this character. They read My Hero Academia. I'm sure they're mean to people on Twitter. I don't like them.
I don't remember this. Is it Arvid?
It's Penny.
It's Penny. Okay.
I saw Penny and I'm like, Penny is not going to be someone I'm going to vibe with in the game. I don't think I like her. But by the end of this game, I really, really liked Penny. And I would even go so far as to say she is probably one of my top 3 favorite evil team leaders in the history of Pokemon.
Oh, for sure.
I really, really liked her. And her story and the build-up with Team Star and like finding out they were actually the good guys that were the ones who were bullied, who then did this whole thing to actually get rid of the bullies. I thought that whole storyline was great. And seeing Penny interact with Nimona and Arvin at the end of the game. I see what you're holding up. I love having it where Penny's making fun of them as they're walking down the path in the crater, where Nimona, you find out, is actually like a rich kid basically, and like her dad owns the Rotom phone company. And Penny's like, oh, so this is what you've been this whole time then. All right, so you're a spoiled little brat. And Nimona's like, that's not what I am. I mean, it kind of is, but like, it's not what I am, I promise. So there's more to me than that. Or Arvin just kind of being a dick throughout the course of the rest of the game, and then actually like being nice after you've gone through the whole Titan thing. And now he's like, we're best buds as you enter the area in Area Zero. And Penny's like, I don't like what's going on here. The dynamic between the 3 is just so great.
There's so much potential. Like if they do an animated series, they could just be with these characters, and I would love to see that kind of interaction throughout the story.
Hope so. We're at a situation now where Ash is one, right? So they could end up doing a reboot. They could have, the main characters end up being the ones from this game. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. I also specifically like with the Team Star story. I loved the headmaster. Being in disguise. He thinks he's really selling it, and he just blows you off every time you call him by his director name or whatever. Yeah. But
And
I
it
just
makes a big spectacle of a reveal
Right.
when you find it.
Right.
Yeah.
I love how sweet and just kind of like low stakes that whole story is.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
like he's there being like a legitimate example of what you'd want out of like a teacher, someone who's
Yeah, for sure.
actively trying
Yeah.
to figure out what's going on and help you through your problems. So that was very sweet, and I enjoyed that quite a bit.
Did you
Good
think
love.
that he was going to end up being evil when you saw the trailer? Because that's definitely what I thought. The first time they showed him, yeah. Because they've done that trope now for so many different games. You had that
That
with
was
Chairman
Sword and Shield.
Rose, and you had that with Lusamine, and yeah, exactly. So I'm happy that they actually didn't do that this time. That like the elder kind of character that you thought was going to be the bad guy all along actually was just a sweet old man trying to help stop bullying. It was kind of nice.
He's kind of a
It's a
dork.
nice change.
Yeah,
He's such a
yeah.
dork. He's very, very charming, and I really liked that about him. Also, Arvin's story, really,
the best of the
Really
Oh
good.
my God.
I almost
Did
cried.
not
the first time
expect
you
that.
find
Yeah.
out the reveal.
Yeah.
Oh man.
just this man is just grieving over the possibility of his Mabosstiff dying, and that's
Yeah.
so sad.
They pulled the dog card Pokemon. They
I
They
know.
sure did.
and it worked.
And they do the reverse, which I find so fascinating too, right? Normally you go through the video games and then something happens that's tragic to your dog at the end of it. And this time it's like, no, you're actively trying to heal this dog that's near death. And then by the end of it, when you're fighting Mabosstiff and then he's like kicking your butt, you're going, wait a minute, why did I heal you,
Dang.
buddy? What is this? Like,
Dude, it's so cool with Arvin, like the progression of that. When you fight him at the very end, his
Yeah.
team is literally the friends he made along the way.
literally.
all the
yeah.
ones that he fought the Titans with you with.
Incredible.
Like,
It's
get out of
great.
here, man.
So good.
And I a lot of people I know, they kind of didn't get a good vibe from him the first time you meet him, just because he's so passive and dismissive of your Miraidon or Koraidon. But
Yeah.
over time, he really grew on me as well.
Yeah.
He has a
He's my
good
favorite,
reason.
I think, of the three. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like,
No, definitely
Yeah.
my
he's going-
favorite of the three. Do you
As
guys
well-
also know the notice the gimmick with the Herba Mysticas, the naming convention?
Oh, HM.
Oh,
of
HM.
course.
HMs.
You're
course.
just teaching.
super good.
You're
That was
just
so
teaching
good.
surf and rock climb and all that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So good.
Oh my gosh, yeah, Arvin really grew on me. Honestly, I think my least favorite story was Victory Road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta
agree.
do a specific shout out to the best gym leader, Larry.
Larry.
I
Oh,
can't
yeah,
believe
Larry, Larry,
it's
for sure, he's the
so
best.
100%.
fantastic that you see
Yeah.
him and you think he's just an NPC because he's such a normal guy with a normal name and he's a normal gym leader, and it's just a fantastic way that they executed that, and also working two jobs with being an Elite Four member. It's just like
Yeah.
they did him so perfectly. That's a fantastic.
And his gym is also one of the most memorable, I think, in the game because you're fighting
Yeah.
in that restaurant.
It's a
And it's
restaurant.
got
Yeah.
that really beautiful, like, wood block thing with the greedent on the back, too. You have the other coworkers, like, cheering him on.
Yeah.
When the kids
That's
run in to
great.
cheer.
Yeah, right.
Good question for me though. What happened to all the diners?
They just go down on the ground and that's it.
That's it.
Are they the food? Did we eat them?
Oh no!
What is Larry Sweeney Todd? He's cooking them. That's it.
Let him cook.
That's
Let
what
him
you
cook,
said.
Brandon.
I will say one thing with the Victor Road thing too that makes it my least favorite. I don't know if this is a hot take. I don't like the gym challenges. I think they're all incredibly mindless. I love the idea. I didn't like them in Sun and Moon either, but I love the idea of doing something that's not just battling to then battle someone else. But they were all mindless, and whoever came up with the one for the psychic gym with the emotion test,
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
dreadful, and they should
Oh.
be fired. Just atrocious.
I think there's two good ones, and they're the ones that actively have you playing the game. Like,
so.
there's
There's
the one
Larry's
where
where you do find the menu item.
That was fun. I
Oh,
like
that's a
Larry's.
good
Yeah.
one.
That was good.
Yeah.
I thought the sledding one was kind of fun,
Oh yeah.
Um,
Okay, that was fun. Yeah.
and then getting the big football into the goal I thought was fun because it used physics.
The
That was
smaller
Fall
one?
Guys.
Dreadful.
That was just
didn't
playing
like
Fall
that one?
Guys at that point.
No, I think the one I liked that I thought you were going to bring up was Iono's. Because I actually thought that was kind of cute, where you're going through and doing the
Oh.
Where's Waldo thing.
Where's Clyde?
And then
Oh,
you
yeah,
see
yeah.
the donations popping up on stream where it's like someone donated $5,000. I thought that was really cute.
call out.
And again, they played with the UI with that one too, right? Where they have her in the foreground and then
Yep.
they have like the actual thing in the back. So I thought that was kind of cute and clever.
They used the low resolution to the game's advantage.
Yeah.
I think it was that last
He's
one where
way
he's
out.
like way out there, like on a boat.
On a boat.
Yeah.
Not
Took me
even
a while
on
to find him on that one.
So many good character designs though, like
I will
throughout.
say, though, I'll ask you guys, because I feel like that's one thing in which Sword and Shield did better than this game, is I feel like the gym characters, the gym challengers, trainers, whatever, were much more memorable in that one than they are in this one. I feel like there's like maybe 3 or 4 of the gym leaders in Scarlet and Violet that I really like. I think we're all Team Larry #1, like, of course. Yeah. And I actually really do like the Elite Four in this one. I like every member of the Elite Four, but I think a lot of the gym leaders in this one are kind of like back and forth, whereas in Sword and Shield, like, I remember all of them still. I liked all of them. They were all very unique and different. And I'm just curious if I'm alone in that aspect.
I think part of that is just the presentation, because the gyms obviously were such a grandiose event. You changed outfits. You're in this massive stadium just to complement the Gigantamax. But in this game, it's they can only do so much with this one. It's just you're back to small scale again. Gym leaders pretty much only have like 3 Pokemon each most of the time. You don't get to see them very much because throughout the story of Sword and Shield, you keep meeting these gym leaders over and over. You keep seeing, like Nessa and other characters throughout the story. With this one, they're kind of just contained to their own area, unless they're like Elite Four members, like Rika, which is probably one of the best characters.
I like all of them. Yeah,
they're all really good. They're all really strong designs. Yeah,
and I guess that goes back to what you just said too, right? Is that the Rika and the little kid and Hassel, like, and Larry, they come up multiple times in the story. So I think it endears you to them when you actually finally get to the Elite Four. Though I will say, I also champion in this one kind of mid. Like, I know it's difficult coming off of Leon, where Leon is like #1 in the whole verse, like, canonically, and obviously we just had Cynthia too with Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, so you got like banger after banger. And then this one, it was like I had more of a challenge with some of the Elite Four members than I did with the champion. I almost was like more excited to just get to the Nemona fight, because
that's the true champion
vibe with
fight.
me.
That realistically, that's the true champion fight.
I wonder if it would have been better if they had Larry be the champion instead of an Elite Four member.
That would have been incredible.
Would have loved it. Yeah,
it would have been fantastic. And speaking on Larry, when you take the interview exam before you fight the Elite Four, I actually put him down as my most difficult gym. It was the only gym I had to do a few times just because I had bad matchups all the way through. So I thought the game made him an Elite Four member because I said he was my most difficult choice. And I was like, did they really do that? And then I found out everyone had Larry, and I was like,
yeah.
He's just worked everywhere for everybody.
Which is also kind of cute too, that his theme for the Elite Four ends up being flying, right? Because his primary Pokemon during that gym fight ends up being Staraptor. And so if you're thinking about like all the different Titans that you fought up to this point, the Team Star things, and also the gyms, and you're like, okay, what are the types that are left that they could do for the Elite Four? And you get to him and you realize, oh, his secondary typing, it's going to be flying, because he had Staraptor initially. I thought that was kind of clever.
Yeah, I loved that. We haven't actually talked a lot about the Pokemon themselves, so I guess for that, let's just go around and see what our teams were. And Roger, I'll start with you.
What teams did you beat the game with?
I'll tell you right now. I remember my main 6. I love them all. I'm going to say their nicknames, and I'm going to say their actual names. First, of course, I got my Karoo. I started with Quaxley, ended with Quaxley. I ended up evolving him all the way to Quaquaval. I love, by the way, his cry, the da-da-da-da-da-da, when he shimmies is perfect. Love Quaquaval. Then I actually got really lucky because off stream, because I didn't want to play a lot of story stuff, I was looking for Gimmighoul coins, and so I had enough to get Goldango pretty early on. So I put Goldango on my team. Obviously, he's a treasure chest, evolves into something gold. Had to name him Goldie Roger, of course. Nice. The guy who held it down for my team, my most powerful Pokemon, sitting at level 77, was Smoliv Garden the Smoliv, who I did not evolve. I refused to evolve Smoliv. He was my absolute favorite. He clutched it out during that Paradox Donphin fight. Clutched it out during the first Titan battle. He was actually legitimately a threat for the final fight against AI Sada as well, stalling out the little Jigglypuff thing. So I love my Smoliv. Beat the game with the Smoliv. Can proudly say that. Garganacl, which was the giant salt guy. Love him. Named him Hyzant after Triangle Strategy. I thought it was the perfect name, especially because he looks like the little blocky Triangle Strategy mountain map. So it's perfect. And he uses Salt Cure, so I'm like, Hyzant for sure on the squad. And then I kind of was swapping between the other two because there's such a good variety with like Annihilate and all the other different ghost types that are in the game. I was like, what are the Pokemon I'm going to use? But then, like I said, I saw my Dung Beetle. I saw Crunchwrap. I evolved him, found out he turns Bug Psychic. I'm like, this guy's never leaving the squad. And then the Pokemon isn't the Scarab. The Pokemon is like in the ball that he pushes, which I think is super cool.
Hey.
And then my final little guy that I had on my team, I had to go back and forth between which version I wanted, was Yamashiro, the little Tatsugiri. They made a sushi Pokemon. I gotta have the sushi Pokemon on my squad. So those are my primary 6.
I love that even though you didn't evolve your Smoliv, I think we can all agree it evolved into a Swoliv if it was able to take on that many.
Yeah, right.
The whole Elite Four.
I love Smoliv. I felt so happy because the launch day, Pokemon Company was like watching a bunch of different people's streams and like retweeting people. And the official Pokemon account tweeted out my live stream on YouTube and was like, congrats on catching Smoliv, because they saw I was using Smoliv and not evolving him. So now Smoliv is just like forever part of the RogersBase lore. Yeah, I have to always have a Smoliv on my team if I can.
So my team was Skeledirge, which I love because he's so massive and cool. I guess I'm not usually into like over-designed Pokemon, but this was the exception for me. I love his little fire spirit that hangs out on him. That's really cool.
That becomes a microphone.
Birdie.
Yeah, it's so sick. Usually I'm not a fan of like the Pikachu clone Pokemon, but I adored Pawmi from the moment I saw it. I was like, that's staying on my team forever. And it gets 2 evolutions, which is something that they haven't done, I don't think, ever with a Pikachu clone.
I love
electric fighting, which is also a unique typing for the first time. There's been so many people who've wanted electric fighting, and you end up getting it with this Pokemon that when he evolves, literally just stands up.
The evolution. Real evolution in nature just stands up.
He gets the raddest haircut you've ever seen.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, I love my Pawmot. So the very first time I saw Varoom, I looked at that and said, yeah, that's for me. That's a Brandon Pokemon. So I got that, evolved it into Rivaroom. I love that it's just a car engine.
That's such an incredible name, by the way.
So good. Rivaroom.
So good.
Yeah. And I love that you fight Rivaroom with a full like car body on it for all of the Team Star battles.
That was terrifying.
Yeah.
I'm jealous of my friends because I've had a few friends get the shiny variant, which is gold.
It's pure gold.
It's whoa! I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I want that.
I also got Palafin. I mean, it's a dolphin Pokemon. How could you not love a dolphin? And then I found out about its ability, which is sick.
Literally one for all. He becomes All Might. Yeah.
Yes, he becomes
pretty
a
much.
Superhero. It's so cool. He's been banned from competitive, apparently.
Yeah, he has been.
Amazing.
That's incredible because when he evolves, he just looks like the same Pokemon, but then if you know...
But wait, there's more. He just stands up, arms on his side. Oh, he's literally Superman.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
I also have Bexcalibur.
Very cool.
I forget its first form's name. Is it Frigibax?
The one with the cute little chubby cheeks and the little nose?
With the butt head?
Yes, that's the one. Yes.
I saw a
so.
Pokemon with a butt head, and I said, I love you.
It's a brand new Pokemon
You're coming
right there.
You know what Bexcalibur is based on too, right? Like his movement and the attack?
Isn't he Godzilla?
Right, so very specifically though, it's one thing from Godzilla. So in the old Godzilla movies, the way that Godzilla would fly is he would shoot the beam out of his mouth and like fly backwards in the sky, which is why he has that signature move that he has. I never caught one in the game, but I know Hassel used one. The reason that animation happens where he flips over and then like flies backwards and shoots the beam, that's a direct reference to one of the Godzilla movies. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh,
yeah, as soon as I saw it was a Godzilla, I was like, one, that's amazing, so you're going to be on my team. But that's even cooler. Because when he stands there, he does kind of look uncanny, like there's just a dude standing in a suit. So knowing that just makes it better. I'm ashamed to say my 6th Pokemon was just a Tropius. I couldn't find a new Pokemon. I wanted to have a completely new team. But my 6th new member did not join my team until the post game because I didn't play Scarlet, I played Violet, and that was Screamtail.
Screamtail's awesome.
Which is the past Jigglypuff.
It's really good.
which with long hair and
Elvis hair?
the teeth. I loved it so much. I named it Squiggly Buff.
Oh, I love it. Squiggly Bump.
Yeah.
Someone recommended I named mine in my stream Jiggly Pump, and I'm like, that's adorable.
Oh, that's good. Yeah,
So good.
yeah. I love all the Paradox Pokemon. I don't think
They're
there's a bad
great.
one in the bunch.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. So, Ant, what was your team?
Yeah, so I also had Skeledirge. I was big on that from the beginning. I named it Bubbo because I meant figured Bub from Bubble Bobble, but I knew what it evolved into, so it needs to be more badass than Bub, so it was Bubbo. I got a Toadschool that I named Kevin because it reminded me of the jellyfish bully from SpongeBob.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
So, named it Kevin. I got a Grafai named Banksy. I was
Nice.
very happy with that one. I got a Lokix named Satanaka, who is Chie from Persona. I figured
Cool,
Kick
cool.
makes sense to me. I got a Tinkaton, one of the best Pokemon now of all time.
Which,
easily.
by the way,
Wonderful.
universally, the internet seems to agree on that because Tinkaton, since release day of Scarlet and Violet, has been worldwide trending on Twitter every day since release day.
Deserves
Every
it.
single day.
It deserves it.
Great design.
It's amazing.
It's a little
And
troll.
it's amazing that like it's shiny. It doesn't change, just the hammer changes. The
hammer-
the lore is just it beats the crap out of Corviknights. That's its
so,
lore.
so the shiny is Corviknight's shiny colors
Yes.
because that's what they use. That's incredible.
It's cute. I love
So
that.
good. I had a Tatsugiri throughout most of the game up until the end that I just named Sashimi. Very basic, but it's adorable, so I had to have one on. But then when I got to Area 0, I replaced it with, I forget what it's called, but the Paradox Delibird.
Yeah.
Iron Bundle.
Iron Bundle, that's it.
Also
Yeah, so I
has been
needed
banned
that.
competitively now.
Yeah, it
it's
has.
so good.
Yeah.
It's one of the most lazy designs, all things considered, because it's just Delibird but metallic. But it's amazing, and it shoots laser beams out of its butt now. Its head will pop off. It's incredible.
Awesome.
And I
Amazing.
just named it Mecha Santa. Gets the job done.
Oh, it's so good.
All right, I think that leaves you, Daniel.
Okay. Let me see here. I'm gonna drop these into our chat. You all have your chat open. I think it's more effective if I just show them.
Look, yeah, let's see it. Let's see
And
it.
then this is where I'm gonna get Brandon to show images on screen.
Excellent.
So
work.
sorry, Brandon. I'm so sorry. So my first one is someone that people probably know from my dumb video about the poor child getting drilled to death. This is my
A what?
Ampharos. It's a Amphi Warhol. My Ampharos
Oh,
is
that's
Amphi
good.
Warhol. So
I like
I really appreciate you naming your Draft Banksy. Yeah, very very nice. This is because I have a team of artists here. Just so you guys know. Going forward, I have my Cerule Edge, one of my favorite Pokemon, Frida Charlo. That's what I have here. The
That's great.
fire type. Let's see. I also have a Clodsire, one of the best Pokemon. This one name is Claude Monet.
You.
I swear to God.
I love it.
I love that you themed all your team after artists. I think that's so cute.
I brought an Umbreon to my team, so I had to name my Umbreon. Where you go? Send. That one's is Umbreon. my Umbreon. So we have that one there. Let's see. We also I had to get a Annihilate because that looked pretty raw for me. The Pig Monkey Pokemon. So I named him Picasso for this one.
It's good.
And I too had a Sushi on my team, Tetsugiri. So I named it Leonardo da Sushi.
I love it.
It couldn't fit, so I
Is
had
that
to
a
do.
shiny?
No, it's not a shiny.
Oh,
It's,
okay.
there's just like 3 versions of them. There's like yellow, pink, and the orange one.
The shiny is
Cool.
white.
There's a
Oh,
white
cool.
shiny. Well, that version.
There's
There's like 3.
shinies.
Yeah, 3 different
Oh, there
shinies
is.
for different versions.
Yeah.
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 Annihilate. We didn't even talk about it earlier, but like the fact that he just gets so angry that he dies is
Yeah.
one of the funniest things.
That's
It's
the
one of
lore.
best. It's one
Incredible.
of the best evos of an old Pokemon. That's
He just
Oh,
used
very
Rage
good.
Fists until he gets so angry he dies and evolves.
Yeah.
Monkey too angry to die.
But I know. Wait, there was one more. I wasn't done because obviously my ride has to be the one that carried me through this team. And
course.
so when I finally named him, I named him Michelangelo.
Beautiful.
It's good.
Which is also brilliant considering you've got the glider and everything like that too. Oh no, but you named Da Vinci was your sushi. Never mind. I take back what I was going to say.
I have since replaced our poor sushi. I have I caught a shiny Gyarados out of just finding it. So
cool.
it was like Gen. I apparently found the Lake of Rage while I was playing, and so I found a red Gyarados. Name Van Gyro. I don't have a picture of that one right now, but that's the best I could do for that name. My team of
I
artists.
was rocking Clodsire for a bit and just named it He.
He?
Just He, H-E.
It is he.
It is He.
I caught a Wooper, I think, in the first hour, and I was very tempted to just go with the internet and call it Pooper, but
No.
I decided
Okay.
against that.
To be fair, I named mine Metamucil. Was what mine was named. So I mean, I'm not too far off from that.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm a big Quagsire fan, and I love Clodsire, but it doesn't quite hit the same note for me as Quagsire, so had to leave the team early on.
Yeah.
I still like Quagsire more, but I had to use Clodsire out of principle that it's a Wooper evolution in this game. So Claude Monet saved me many times.
I like it.
But yeah, that's our. I'm glad we have such a variety of Pokemon on our teams too. We
It's
all
one,
use
of the, it's
mostly
one
the
of the best and most varied gens of just new Pokemon. Yeah,
Easily.
I think someone
Yeah.
And typings too. I mean, so many new typings that have never been seen before in this one. Like none of us talked about it yet, but the hot pepper, the grass fire.
By the way, that
Scoville
name
is also such a good name for a hot
That's such a
pepper
good name.
Pokemon.
Right.
So good.
I'm happy. I was gonna name my Fuecoco like Scoville or something like that, and I didn't
Yeah.
know about Scovillain, so I'm glad I didn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, just the type variety this time around is so good. I love that so many Pokemon have signature moves as well. Like, I feel like almost everything can be competitively viable now at this point. Like, low kicks, that's like your early first bug that you get in the game, but like is legitimately an awesome Pokemon if you put it on your squad. So, and that is across the board with almost everything. Yeah. I love it.
Also, we got three great dogs out of this.
Yes.
Gen.
So many good
Graveyard,
dogs.
A lot of
Fido,
dogs.
And
Yeah.
Mastiff, just great.
Yeah.
Great dogs.
So many good boys.
Yeah.
I also love that Mastiff is just based on like gangsters.
Just that smirk.
It's so
I love
good.
it.
I could just hear the voice in my head every time I saw it.
Yeah, what you doing there?
Shout out to the literal Flamigo. No one uses it here
right.
apparently,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I love that. I can't believe we got a dolphin Pokemon finally. We got a Flamingo Pokemon. When are you gonna do a hummingbird Pokemon? We're 1,000 in, and
one
there's not a
day.
hummingbird Pokemon. Please, I will rock that the whole way. But
Speaking of 1,000
Yeah.
in though, going back to one of the new ones that I love, Goldango, like I love the fact that when you send him out, he's just on a surfboard made of money and just throws his Make It Rain also has such a funny little animation. He just spins around and chucks coins everywhere. And he's surfing around on a surfboard.
I
that's
could not take Golden Ghost seriously when I first saw it because all I
I
saw
love
was
him.
the Applejack mascot. Of
Yes!
the
Oh, really? No,
Superman guy,
Oh.
and that's all I could see.
I saw the string cheese man with the hair coming out. Same thing. Same
Notice
energy.
Both
saw
of
he
those
had
are
arms.
food.
Edible.
You like some arms. There you go.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to do this when I was setting up my team, but the one thing that kind of came up, how your whole team was like themed after artists, my whole team kind of ended up being themed after food. I had duck, salt, cheese stick, sushi, and olive, and the only one that's the odd man out is my scarab. But it's like I feel like he could just cook for everybody. He'll be the chef. He'll chop up my olive and my duck, and we'll have a good dinner. So
Here. Well then.
put it on a
Oh,
sandwich.
no one
actually.
here also went for Sprigatito. That's interesting.
Oh, I guess not. Yeah.
Yeah,
I figured that was the
number.
number 2 most popular one. No disrespect to Quaxley. I figured that
Of
was number
course.
3 in the rankings.
Yeah,
I'm surprised no one here got Sprigatito.
Quaxley was my first choice, but looking at it now, I think Skeledirge was my favorite design-wise for this generation as far as the Final Evolution goes, which I'm surprised we didn't actually get those officially announced by a Pokemon Company this time. They usually always show them beforehand, like well before. So,
I'm a big
appreciate
fan
that.
of just kind of like picking one and just being along for the ride, seeing what happens, because arguably it's more exciting for me, because like even if I end up not liking the design, I was like, well, this is the choice that I made, so here I am.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we want to chat about before we wrap up here?
With the performance.
Oh,
We're
yeah,
letting the
obviously,
Pokemon Company
what
get
was-
away with
what
this.
was-
We can't let the
Naturally, yeah, of
Pokemon
course.
Company get away with it.
what was the biggest glitch you encountered playing the game?
I
I
did a
start?
Terra raid. Oh, go ahead.
I was only going to say this because I did this live on stream and I sent you the clip. I found a Meryl in the desert outside of that one town that's like the 3-tiered waterfall village where you fight the water gym leader. This Meryl, and you can see it live on stream, rendered where only its face and the little ball in its tail rendered, and everything else was invisible. And so you've got this weird curved, flat PNG of Meryl's face, and then the little ball in the end. I will send Brandon the clip so he could, put it in the video so people could see what I'm talking about. I was losing my mind. We were joking that I found a Paldean Meryl that didn't end up getting it.
Oh no!
When it fainted, it just disappears. There was no animation. It just
nothing was
disappeared. Nope.
All right.
Gone. Weirdly enough, one of the 2 biggest glitches I encountered also involved Meryl. So I was doing the Titan battle against the crab. What's its name? Cloth or something?
Yeah.
Off.
Yeah. And winning that battle caused my Meryl to evolve. So the camera zoomed down in on Meryl,
Oh, I saw this. Yeah.
and then it stopped for a second, and then the camera moved again to the left and spawned an additional Meryl. And that Meryl evolved.
That's so funny.
And after it evolved into a Zoomeril disappeared, and the camera went back to my original Meryl and just ended the cutscene.
You're just like, hey, check this out. This
So
Pokemon's
good.
evolving. Anyway,
So I had someone tweet at me, you can have your Meryl and eat it too, or something like that, or evolve it too.
So good.
The other big one I encountered was during a Terra raid battle. I think it was I don't remember the Pokemon that the raid battle was against, but when I spawned in, there was a Baxcalibur in front of the raid Pokemon. So there was the raid Pokemon on the platform, and then on the ground in front of it was a Baxcalibur just looking at me. And it stayed there for the entire raid. And at the end of the raid, when I went to throw the Pokeball, you know how you get that really cool cutscene, like the dramatic close-up, and then you see the ball spinning? During the spinning part, where it's flying towards the Pokemon, it flies past Baxcalibur's head. Like
so
dodging it Matrix style. I was just like, what? And I was doing that with friends, and I was the only person in that Terra raid battle that had that happen. It was super weird.
Man.
And I think you had a thread of glitches, didn't you?
No.
On
So,
Twitter? Oh, okay.
No, I made a hot tweet that was just like, Pokemon's really fun when people don't blast your ear about telling you how bad it is.
Oh,
And
sure.
then that led to a whole bunch of people saying me, the popular YouTuber is letting Nintendo get away with this by not talking about how broken it is. Just insane stuff. But I was lucky enough to not actually have glitches. It's like the game crashed twice, I think, 2 or 3 times, outside of the frame rate just being garbage. I would hear issues all the time. If you leave the game on for too long, there's a memory leak and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And nothing like that actually happened. It just has a really bad frame rate.
I'll back that up. I also never even had a game crash period. Not once. Throughout the whole thing. I was streaming for 6 hours, 7-hour long streams multiple times, and not once did the game crash. Yeah.
Mine crashed, I think, over the course of my playthrough 6 times.
Well,
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That's
I
about
guess-
common for me as well.
So did you guys play like on a cartridge or SD card? How did you...
the cartridge.
I actually downloaded it. Yeah.
Mine's downloaded onto
Was yours
my
downloaded
SD
to your
card.
Switch or to the SD card?
My SD card. Oh, sorry.
I could check for you real quick. Hold on. I was sending you the link to that Meryl thing. I'll check for you real quick.
I've seen some people saying that having it on the Switch memory made it better, but
Interesting.
not confirmed claims, so I don't know for sure.
Data management.
I think that works for some, but
It says I'm on
otherwise,
my SD card.
Okay.
It's on the SD card. Yeah.
it's interesting.
that-
Everyone just has
that
different
one's that.
experiences with that, then. So I don't know.
Yeah, I guess.
But
It
Yeah,
did
no-
crash for me mostly in multiplayer. I should I should clarify that.
really, for me, it was mostly navigating menus and the map and things like that. It would just randomly crash whenever I scroll certain things, and that was like, I don't even know why. I was doing nothing intensive. I was just trying to load a menu, and then it just crashed on me. The only other like actual, not glitchy, but just the showing how not polished the game is that when you're fighting people in the normal type city, when you're trying to find the recipe, and you're just fighting in the streets. Civilians would just kind of walk into and out, and that's when there was this innocent child having coffee walking in front of my Ampharos, and then this Dunsparce used drill run, so I cut off the clip so it looked exactly like she was getting attacked with Ampharos cushion in between, and what makes it better is that you can hear the super effective sound like right before it cuts off.
Sure.
That we could put that in as well because that got way too much more attention than it needed.
I love
was
that.
ridiculous.
Because you tagged it as here's a child getting drilled in the streets.
You sure chose that language.
Yeah,
What?
you could have definitely worded that better.
Wait, so what was I going to say? Child dies in the street? That was insensitive. That would have been insensitive.
I'm just saying.
That's still what happened. Listen, I'm just telling you what happened. That Dunsparce used a drill attack, so I'm just saying the truth. I can't spread lies of this story. Listen, it's just how you interpret it.
I guess now that we've talked about some glitches in performance, like, did it really affect your experience?
No.
Yeah, it made
In
it
the long
better.
run.
It was hilarious. So I
Made it better. Well, I'm not gonna go as far as Ant to say they made it better.
I should say the community aspect of everyone laughing at how bad it is, like that made the experience fun. Obviously, I prefer not having it,
Right.
but it didn't detract like a lot of people claim that it did for them.
Yeah, and that's again not to say it didn't. Like we're not negating people saying like, it crashed in the game, ruined my experience or whatever. Like that sucks for you, but for me, I did not have that happen to me at all. The weird performance glitches and things like that were funny to me more than anything else. I could have definitely lived without them. I think they could take their time on the next one, but yeah, it certainly didn't hinder my enjoyment in any way. I was having a good time.
Yeah, the whole reason as to why these performance issues happen is it's its own discussion altogether. But overall, when you play this game, you can tell that there's the people that make it. There's love and care put into this what they're making. It's not optimized at all, but underneath all the problems, there's a very playable and fun game underneath. It's just marred by all these problems that we've been hearing over for the last week. And I still enjoy it for what it is. It was really fun. I've been more immersed in this than I was for most Pokemon games, like since, as I mentioned, since Black and White. It's probably the most invested I've been in a Pokemon game since then. And if they go in this direction, I'm all for it. I want to see more in this direction as far as like story, those epic moments that we got with the story, and just exploration and gameplay, and just the sense of discovery. I thought that was really the journey I've been waiting for since playing Pokemon Yellow.
Sure.
I think I pretty much agree. That said, bottom line, probably shouldn't release a game that's in this state.
Yeah.
So I hope that it can either be fixed or next time that this doesn't happen. But that said, I still had a lot of fun with it, and I think Pokemon is headed in the right direction, which is not something I could have said, a couple generations ago. So here we are.
I would say even dating back to like, a year ago, right? Like when you came to visit LA and you were talking to me about your experience with Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and like it's a grind. And it did not sound like you were having fun at all.
I didn't. I had no fun.
Yeah. So to hear that your love for Pokemon's coming back, I think you're not alone. I think there are a lot of people that maybe came off of it after a while that have then even maybe potentially seen those glitches like you were talking about, Ant, and been like, this is kind of funny. I want to see what this is about. And then picked it up and then actually found a really good core game at the end of all of it. Yeah. Also goes without saying, I guess we didn't really talk about it at all, but like this became the fastest selling Nintendo game of all time.
Oh yeah.
That's insane.
Outselling every single game on Wii U ever released on Wii U in 3 days. And in 3 days, outselling Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, which were the third version on one of the most popular systems Nintendo's ever had. So, really shocking stuff. Yeah.
That's the power of
Splatoon 3 was like the highest selling game, the fast selling game, and then they broke their own record.
Immediately broke their own record.
Right
yeah.
after.
Mental.
Yeah.
And just because the game is selling well also, like I know a lot of people are like, oh, they're not going to fix it just because the games are selling well. I don't think that's true.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
Like, I do think that next time around it won't be quite this bad.
No.
But I'm gonna keep that hope.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the game and I'd love to see it be better next time. Anything else we want to chat about before we wrap it up?
Feeling
We're
good.
good. Yeah.
That covers it.
Covered most things already. Yeah.
All right. So before we sign off here, Ant, where can people find you on the internet?
YouTube, Twitter, potentially Twitch. Again, AntDude92. A lot of memes on Twitter, and I take myself seriously on YouTube. Very different person on both sites. So come on by.
And of course, Roger, where can people find you?
You can find me at RogersBase on YouTube, on Twitter, on Twitch, on Instagram, and on TikTok, where I just posted a Pokemon TikTok of me dressed up as a student in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, because apparently you could be 60 years old and be a student, so.
Apparently so.
I forgot about that.
You're never too old to learn.
That's right, education's for everyone, exactly. No hate there.
If you want to be part of these discussions as they're recorded live and be in our lovely live audience chat, you can join our Patreon. Links to that will be in the description below. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't been here yet. And also subscribe to the lovely folks that joined us here today. So for more on Pokemon and all things video games, stay here at Good Vibes Gaming, and we will see you next time. Bye!
Till we meet again.
Woo!